Welcome to my channel, the world of science fiction where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. Alien cadets discover the real reason humans are banned from galactic war. If you're hearing this, you've already broken a law. At Oro 400 hours inside Orion Cadet Academy, Section C, a covert lecture begins. The doors are sealed. The lights are dim. The holoboard flickers, then stabilizes on a single word. Humans. Recorders off, Instructor Vel says. What I'm about to show you is banned by the Galactic Conquered. We shift in our seats. I'm Kale of Lyrix Prime. Beside me sits Lyra of the Kest Solace Fleet, all focus, no fear. The Academy has drilled into us one rule. Never ask why humans are barred from war. Study their tactics only as relics, never as doctrine. Vel gestures. The holo floods with cold archived footage. Human ships, ugly, angular, efficient. Not the proud sculptures of the conquered fleets, but tools. Pure tools. No ornament, no anthem, only mission. 2 centuries ago, Vel says, humanity ended the 7th spiral conflict in 6 days. Gasps. 6 days is a supply delay, not a war. Vel brings up battle overlays. They do not think like us. They do not escalate. They conclude. Where we posture, they pivot. Where we calculate losses, they refuse to bleed twice in the same place. A pause. The room is silent. Lyra raises a hand. Sir, if they were that effective, why the ban? Vel's gaze hardens. Because effectiveness is not the same as safety. Humans discovered something we did not. The resonance. The word hums through the chamber. Resonance, Vel continues, is not a weapon you fire. It's a decision you force. A pattern in signals, speech, presence, call it myth, call it psychology, call it something deeper. When humans commit, enemies stop believing in their own futures. Wars end, quickly, permanently. Then why ban them, I ask. Because, Cadet Kale, the Council fears what ends wars even more than it fears what starts them. The holo shifts. A final image remains. A human emblem. A simple circle with a single line through it like a closed door. Their last act, Vel says, was to lock that door themselves. The alarms erupt. Unauthorized archive access. Security inbound. Vel kills the holo. Run. We sprint into the corridor. Overhead red glyphs flash. Access breach. A single thought claws through my mind as boots hammer metal. Humans didn't get banned because they were monsters. Maybe they got banned because they were guardians. If that's true, why did they leave? And what if we need them back? We duck into a maintenance shaft. Air is cold, metal is colder. Lyra's voice is steady. The Council will erase the lecture. The only proof is in the Black Archive. The Black Archive is off limits, I say. She smirks. So is thinking. We crawl through shadowed spinework, then drop into a silent data bay. A single console waits in the dark. Old human-era encryption shielding it like bones under skin. I touch the interface. It does not respond to my ID. It responds to my doubt. Kale, Lyra whispers. Are you ready to break the oath? Cadets swear never to access war laws sealed by the Concord. We swore out loud. We meant it, but oaths are bridges. Sometimes you cross them to burn them later. Yes, I say. The screen warms. A voice, faint, textured, unmistakably human, fills the room. If you found this, you are not our enemy, it says. You are our inheritance, the console unlocks. Files cascade, names, coordinates, final orders. One file blazes brighter than all the rest. Dominion Protocol, voluntary exile. Voluntary. Lyra's eyes narrow. They chose the ban? I open the file. After the 6th day, we invoke the Dominion Protocol, the human voice says, calm and tired. We will not wage galactic war again. Not because we cannot. Because we will not. Our weapons end nations faster than nations can heal. We will not become the permanent shape of everyone else's fear. Another line. Quiet, like a hand on a shoulder. We will leave the stage. But we will not leave the world. The file ends with a set of beacons buried along the rim. Not weapons. Something else. The bay lights flare. Security has our scent. I rip a shard from the console, a data spine the size of my palm. Alarms spike, then die. The room plunges dark. We run. As we hit the outer hall, a shadow steps from the far door. Not security. Taller. Older. Wearing a coat that doesn't belong to any academy uniform. Cadets, The figure says. You are 2 centuries late. A human here. What are you doing inside the Concord's most secure academy? Lyra manages. The stranger smiles, not unkind. Guarding a promise. Who are you? I ask. Name's Mara, she says. Humanity's liaison to those who still ask the right questions. She glances at the shard in my hand. If you're going to carry that, you should know who will come for you. Who? Lyra asks. Everyone. We follow Mara through service decks that don't exist on Academy schematics. She moves like water through stone, never wasted motion, never a second glance over her shoulder. Humans. Efficient even when no one is watching. In a sealed hangar, a small Corvette waits, matte hull, no insignia. Mara palms the hatch. The air inside smells like rain and metal. She projects a star map, not the Concord's polished lattice, but a living chart of currents, trade, rumors, and burns. Lines flare along the rim. At each intersection, a beacon. Their weapons? I ask. Not weapons, Mara says. Choices. The beacons carry resonance, recorded voices, patterns, and proof. They remind anyone who listens that there is another way to stop war. Not with annihilation. With conviction. With cost. Lyra leans closer. And who maintains them? Mara's eyes hold mine. People who believe the ban was a covenant, not a cage. A new alert blossoms on the map. Council interdictors inbound. They can't know we're here, I say. They don't, Mara replies. They know you are. You tripped the archive. They'll paint you as radicalizers. The Academy will disown you. The Conquered will brand you unreliable. Why help us? Lyra asks. Mara doesn't answer right away. She gestures instead at a final cluster of red points along the far edge of the chart, beyond normal patrols. Because something old woke up in the dark span, she says. It swallowed 3 border moons and a silence field. The Council will posture. They will form committees. They will lose. The dark span will not negotiate. It never has, I swallow. And you think, I know, Mara says. The Conquered banned humans from Galactic war. Good. Keep the ban. But the dark span is not a war. It is a collapse. To stop it, someone has to choose early, choose clean, and choose together. That's what resonance does. It collapses the space between maybe and must. The interdictors blink closer. Decide now, Mara says. Come with me and learn why humans stepped back. Or stay and watch history repeat. I look at Lyra. She nods once. We board the Corvette. Outside, the Academy sirens wail like an animal that knows the storm is already here. The Corvette breaks atmo, silent as a thought. We jump by short burns, no grand arcs, only humble stitches between stars. It feels like traveling by promise. Beacon 1 floats in a graveyard of ships, their hulls pierced, their names long scraped away by dust. Mara powers the beacon. It wakes like a lantern in a deep well. A voice fills the cabin. Human, firm, tired, kind. My name is Etta Ruiz, it says, Fleet Captain, Dominion Protocol Executor. If you are hearing me, you are choosing between the speed of victory and the shape of peace. She describes the 6th day. Not the tactics, those are already legend, but the aftermath. The frantic rebuilding, the sudden quiet, the way enemies, deprived of the story they needed to keep fighting, fell into shock. We discovered we could end wars faster than people could process their endings, Captain Ruiz says. We were making peace brittle. Lyra's hand tightens on the rail. If you choose resonance, Ruiz continues, you choose time. You choose the slow work of binding wounds before you show the scar. You choose limits on what you can win today, to protect what you have to live with tomorrow. The message ends on a date. The day humans walked off the field. Voluntary, not surrender, restraint. The beacon dims, then projects a key. Coordinates. Beacon 2. Why hide this from the Conquered? I ask. Mara exhales. They weren't ready to trust a power they didn't control. So they called it myth, then called it forbidden. Safer to ban us than to learn from us, a ping. An interdictor shadow appears at the edge of sensors. Council colors. They followed our wake. Strap in, Mara says. Beacon 2 is in contested space. We'll have company. For the first time since the lecture, I am not afraid. I am hungry. Not for war. For an end that leaves something worth beginning. We drop into the Yarrow drift and find Beacon 2 anchored to a station that never fully chose a side. Traders, mercenaries, pilgrims, everyone lives here by compromise. Everyone breaks a rule, then makes another. Council interdictors arrive 5 minutes later. Their envoy hails us, voice smooth, eyes flat. Cadets Kale and Lyra, she says. Return to custody. Instructor Vel will be disciplined. You will be forgiven. On what condition? Lyra asks. On the condition that you stop chasing ghosts, the envoy says. The Darkspan is a council matter. Humans may advise. They will not lead. They will not preach their resonance. We require weapons, not sermons. Mara cuts the channel. They don't hear the difference between a sermon and a structure. She opens a tight beam to the station. We need docking permissions to reach the beacon. We'll pay with the only currency that matters, truth. Station control hesitates, then clears a port. As we slide in, the envoy transmits again, sharper now. Resonance is manipulation, she says. A war of stories is still a war. Better honest kinetics than soft control. I answer her myself. Resonance is consent. You cannot fake the end of a war. You can only arrive there faster, together, or slower alone. Silence. We dock. Beacon 2's message plays in a stone-quiet loading bay. My name is Jiro Anaba, the human voice says. Tactical Psychologist Dominion Protocol. We learned that intent broadcasts. If we train our own people to show up as endings, not weapons, enemies stop seeing themselves as targets. They start seeing choices. He explains method, not magic, language, posture, proof. You bring food before you bring force. You carry your dead out in the open. You publish your limits. You bleed once, not forever. The bay crew stands like statues. No one moves. No one blinks. Jiro's final line lands like a verdict. If you ever use resonance to hide conquest, it fails. When the recording ends, the station chief salutes Mara. Not a conquered salute. A human one. Right hand to heart, then open palm out. Third beacon is in the span, Mara says, voice low. No one goes there and comes back unchanged. I look at the crew, at Lyra, at the envoy's ships waiting outside like teeth. We go, I say. The Darkspan is not dark. It is color without sound, light without temperature, a choir of wrongness that never learned the words. Our hull shivers as we cross the threshold. Instruments register nothing and everything. We find Beacon 3 tethered to a comet that sings in radio math. Mara powers it up. The message that spills out is softer than the others, like a lullaby written after a fire. My name is Amaya Stone, it says. Field Medic Dominion Protocol. If you are here, you are late, but you are not too late. She tells a simple, brutal truth. People don't stop fighting when the guns go quiet. They stop when the story they needed to fight no longer makes sense. Resonance breaks that story, then offers another. You can live. You can rebuild. You can be more than the last thing you did. While the beacon speaks, the span notices us. A shape unfolds ahead, geometry that does not respect our angles. It eats the stars behind it and leaves no crumbs. Council interdictors blink in, hungry to claim a victory, terrified of being seen to follow. The envoy opens a channel. Stand down. We will engage. You can't shoot absence, Mara says. The shape flexes. A silence wave rolls toward us. The interdictors' shields fail, then their nerves. Ships list. Crews freeze now, Mara whispers. Kale Lyra broadcast wide. Not orders, not threats, choices. What do we say? I ask. Tell the truth, she says. Tell them what you will and won't do. Tell them what it will cost you. I swallow. I open the channel. My voice is small and very, very clear. This is Cadet Kale, I say. We will not fire first. We will not abandon the wounded. We will not chase this thing into civilian space. If we cannot stop it here, we will die here, so that others have time to do what we could not. Lyra speaks next. Her voice does not shake. We will escort every ship that wants to leave. We will stand with every ship that stays. Choose now, not later. Now. Across the bands, a dozen captains who are waiting to be told what to be. Choose. They choose to live. They choose to fight. They choose together. The span recoils, not because it understands mercy, but because it understands coherence. Predators feed on panic. We gave it a wall of decision. The envoy's voice comes back, altered. What do you need? Mara answers without triumph. Publish your limits. Then keep them. The council ships do, the span wavers. For the first time, it looks possible. Last beacon, Mara says. Home. We return to the academy under escort, not as prisoners, not as victors, but as something rarer. Witnesses. Instructor Vel meets us in the same sealed hall where the lecture began. Security watches from the shadows. The council envoy stands beside them, no longer waiting to pounce, now waiting to understand. Mara places the 3 recovered keys on the console. The final file unlocks. A human council appears. Not the conquered. Not our council. Humanity's own, recorded on the day they voted to exile themselves from war. An old woman speaks for them. Her eyes are oceans and she looks so tired. The real reason we are banned, she says, is that we banned ourselves first. We saw that our gift, our ability to end wars, could become a habit, and then a right, and then a crown. We chose restraint so the galaxy could choose growth, not reliance. She leans closer as if across time. If you hear this, it means you are ready for the harder task, not victory stewardship. The recording ends silence. Then quietly, the council envoy speaks. Will humans return to service? Mara shakes her head. To war? No. To work? Always. The envoy looks at us. And the cadets? Vel answers. They broke an oath to keep a promise. The envoy breathes in, then out. Then let's write a better oath. Outside the hall, the academy's anthem plays. It sounds less like pride now, more like resolve. I look at Lyra. She nods the same way she did in the dark databay, the same way she did at the edge of the span. We walk forward. We swear a new oath, not to win. To end well. And across the rim, old beacons wake like dawn after a long, long night.